Transdeck was born in December of 1987. Between me and a consultant that I was working with, and we were sitting at a bar up in Eureka, working on a project. His name is Don McEdwards, and he's a professional engineer and a professional geologist and a hydrogeologist, and I'm a civil engineer. And I said, hey, I'm thinking about starting a company. And so over dinner, we formed a partnership. One of the things I've been most proud of is that from day one, I always tried to create an environment here that would be respectful of the individual. We all get along, and we do not have conflict. I mean, the folks that were walking around here earlier before we started talking here, 20 years, 18 years. Michael's been here 5. Bill I've known for 30. So I'm real proud of that. I absolutely take pride in whatever I've touched over the years. I put myself through college finishing concrete, or basically I was a laborer, concrete laborer. I was blessed to have a cement contractor right down the street. I grew up in Bennett Valley on Bates Hole Drive, and this guy, Don Carrillo, lived right up the street. I started working for Don when I was 13 years old during the summers. And then when I got to be 16, 17, 18, whatever, I started doing some side jobs. I still go back and look at some of the concrete work I did when I was 18, 19 years old. Yeah, what made me go into engineering starts again with the concrete work I did. I worked on a project on Snyder Lane. There's I think a 6-foot wide or very, very wide meandering concrete sidewalk. I was given the task of doing final grading, and it was on my own, and I was 17, I guess, and I graded this whole. It was a long strip, and it was a wide walkway, and then at the end of it, and it was summertime, end of summer, and so that black adobe was full of cracks and everything else, but then we put the sand on top, and I graded it perfect, and I watered the heck out of it. My boss comes back the next day to pour, and it's full of these little hummocks all over the place. And he just called. We didn't have cell phones back in the day, but when I did show up at the job site, I got my tail chewed out. I go, but it was perfect. That's what got me into being an engineer, because I grabbed some of that black material, and I waited until I was a junior at Chico in the soils lab, and we tested that material, and it was the most expansive material that they had ever seen. Anyway, that is actually what started me to be an engineer. As far as mentors go, I've been incredibly blessed. When I was young and first got out of college, I worked for first Harding Lawson Associates as a summer intern, and that's where I started doing some soils work. And then I was very blessed to work for Don Herzog and Associates, and met many of the members of the Hall of Fame and the ECA and other companies along the way, doing the geotech. And at Herzog, I must have read 50% of the geotech reports that they had. I poured through them weekends. Then Don Herzog himself took me under his wing a little bit down in Mill Valley. And then Keith Gregory and Juan Hidalgo of RGH, started RGH. I would consider them mentors. Chris Kramer, Bryce Bauer of Bauer Associates, dear friends as well as true mentors. So I was very blessed I wish I would have had the wisdom to work with them longer, but I was so itching so much to start my own gig that I only worked for them for a few years, but I was very, very blessed. Now, believe it or not, one of the most interesting jobs we were doing in addition to the Sonoma Mission Inn, and I was out there. It was kind of rare that I was out there alone drilling as the young age I was, but Don Herzog trusted me, and Keith Gregory trusted me. Greg Zucco was the structural engineer on the job. Yeah, Mr. Zucco. And he had my back on that job. The last boring of the day, we were near this creek, and we were doing our driving with the samplers, And it went thump, 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 and then nothing. Huh. Drilled another few feet down. Boom, 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 nothing. I mean, nothing. Nothing for almost 40 feet. And then we hit this volcanic tooth materials, the yellowish material, the same material that was up 30-something feet above. Turns out that there was a void underneath there, and the solution by Mr. Zuko was to do drilled cast-in-place piles. And it was a big deal for the architect. And they were mad at me. The architect was, and the client was, because I was, who's this kid saying it's going to cost them X number of dollars more. So the pile, the cast in place, the caisson, they pounded it down through the upper 5 feet of topsoil, and then it broke through the crust, and it slid down 10 feet on its own weight. And the architect and the whoever the other big shots that were there watching it got in their cars and left. And that was, and Mr. Zuko had my back on that. But that was a big deal. That was the most interesting job I ever worked on, as far as geotech. I believe that common sense and my construction background, my concrete background, and being around construction prepared me better for being an engineer and a business owner in general than anything. Being named Affiliate of the Year means to me, and it's not me, it's the company, and I really very much appreciate that. I can honestly say that I am as happy and feel as blessed to be here 35 years later as when I was a young kid with a lot more pounds off and a lot less no gray hair, So that's one of the things. But it is truly an honor.